Welcome back to RV News, your #1 trusted source for the latest updates, breaking developments, and verified news on the Iraqi Dinar, the Vietnamese Dong, and all things related to the global currency reset. If you hold IQD, VND, or any other currencies involved in the long-awaited revaluation, you're going to want to watch this video until the very end. Today's news is nothing short of groundbreaking. We have just received confirmed intel suggesting that Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia Al-Sudani has officially authorized a limited-time IQD exchange window, an 18-hour window that, if accurate, could be the turning point we've all been waiting for. That's right, folks. According to multiple trusted sources and well-positioned insiders, the global RV may be unfolding right now, and action must be taken fast. Let's begin with the incredible news out of Baghdad. Late last night, reports began circulating across private banking networks and international financial forums that Prime Minister Al-Sudani held an emergency economic session with key officials, central bank leaders, and foreign financial envoys. During this meeting, the Prime Minister allegedly signed a temporary executive authorization allowing the exchange of Iraqi Dinar at what is being referred to as a pre-revaluation transitional rate. This decision reportedly comes as Iraq finalizes its economic sovereignty strategy and prepares for reintegration into the global financial system under new ISO 2022 protocols. The temporary exchange rate authorization is valid for only 18 hours, an extremely narrow window that is intended to stabilize liquidity, test international settlement systems, and begin what many are now calling the public phase of the global. Before we go any further, let's be clear. This is not a drill. We are receiving confirmations from individuals with direct access to Tier 1 and Tier 2 banking institutions who have corroborated that a soft rollout is indeed underway. Certain redemption centers across the US, Canada, Europe, and parts of the Middle East have reportedly received the green light to begin processing exchanges for pre-approved individuals holding Iraqi Dinar. These exchanges are taking place under non-disclosure agreements, and the rate being quoted is substantially higher than the long-standing program rate of around 2,300 IQD to 1 USD. Preliminary figures suggest the temporary exchange rate falls between 340 to 481 per IQD, depending on account tier and location, a staggering increase and a direct reflection of Iraq's true asset-backed value and regional oil leverage. Why is this happening now? All signs point to a convergence of key geopolitical and financial conditions that have aligned perfectly. Iraq recently cleared its final financial obligations under Chapter 7, signaling the UN's full recognition of Iraq's economic autonomy. Furthermore, the Central Bank of Iraq has increased its gold and foreign currency reserves to historic highs, positioning itself as a stable and secure institution capable of supporting a revalued currency. And let's not forget the rapidly evolving BRICS economic alliance, which has been pushing for a global de-dollarization strategy and advocating for currency parity based on real-world assets. With the IQD being one of the most undervalued currencies in the global market, the moment was ripe for this kind of bold monetary move. Al-Sudani's decision to initiate a timed exchange window appears to be both strategic and symbolic. Strategically, it allows Iraq to test its internal systems, digital platforms, and banking networks while simultaneously limiting potential chaos or speculation. Symbolically, the 18-hour window sends a message to the world that Iraq is no longer a dormant economy waiting for approval from the West. It is a sovereign, resource-rich nation reclaiming its rightful place in the global financial hierarchy. This move is also seen as a confidence-building measure for other revaluation-eligible nations, such as Vietnam, Zimbabwe, and Indonesia, who may be closely watching Iraq's execution of this limited exchange phase. Here's what this means for IQD holders across the globe. If you are holding physical dinar, especially if it has been verified and authenticated through trusted channels, this 18-hour window could be your opportunity to finally realize the value of your investment. While full public exchanges have not yet been confirmed, certain private tier groups and individuals on notification lists have reportedly received instructions on how to proceed. If you're not yet on any notification list or don't have a relationship with a Tier 1 or Tier 2 banking institution, Now is the time to take immediate action. We highly recommend contacting your wealth advisor, local redemption center, or the financial institution that issued your currency to determine if they are participating in this early exchange protocol. So how does the exchange process work during this temporary window? Based on the insider reports we've reviewed, the process involves a secure appointment system. Participants must first receive a confirmation email or secure message inviting them to schedule a redemption appointment. Upon arrival at the center, IQD holders are required to present identification, prove the source of their funds, and submit to biometric verification. The actual exchange is conducted digitally, and funds are transferred to a restricted holding account until the final rate is confirmed and released. The accounts are said to be interest-bearing, insured, and fully backed by precious metals, giving early exchangers additional confidence in the security of their new wealth. Now, it's important to understand that this temporary window is not a full-scale public RV, at least not yet. It is being described as a global liquidity calibration event, where countries and financial institutions can test their exchange mechanisms under real-world conditions. In other words, this is the dress rehearsal before the full show. That said, the success of this 18-hour operation could very well determine how quickly the rest of the public rollout takes place. If all goes smoothly, we could be looking at a full global announcement in the days or even hours following the close of this limited window. Let's talk briefly about what's happening in the broader financial world that supports this sudden move. Over the past 72 hours, there has been an extraordinary spike in interbank communication between the Federal Reserve, the European Central Bank, and central banks in the Middle East and Asia. Cross-border settlements using the new quantum financial system have been quietly tested using digital tokens pegged to national currencies, including IQD and VND. Simultaneously, major global banks such as HSBC, Chase, and UBS have reportedly upgraded their internal systems to support new exchange rates and SWIFT to QFS bridge mechanisms. All of these developments suggest that the long-awaited reset is no longer a hypothetical. It is actively unfolding. There's also the matter of timing. Many believe the choice of an 18-hour window was deliberately aligned with global trading, cycles, and energy markets. Iraq's oil contracts are now being restructured to reflect real-time pricing in IQD rather than USD, which represents a massive shift in global petrofinance. Additionally, sources have confirmed that the IMF and World Bank are closely monitoring the situation, possibly as part of an agreed-upon economic trigger mechanism tied to global debt forgiveness and sovereign currency realignment. If true, this means the RV is not only about wealth redistribution, it's about systemic financial reform. So what should you be doing right now? First, check your holdings. Make sure your IQD is authentic, safely stored, and accessible. If you have receipts or certificates of authenticity, gather them now. If you're on a redemption list or have contacts within the financial sector, reach out immediately for updates. If you're not yet connected to a group, keep your notifications on. We'll be updating you minute by minute here on RV News. Do not attempt to walk into your local bank expecting a standard exchange unless you have been specifically instructed to do so. Many banks will not be participating in this early phase and may not even be aware of the operation until it concludes. Also, be wary of disinformation and opportunists. When events of this magnitude begin to roll out, scammers and bad actors are always lurking. Only work with verified contacts, licensed advisors, and trusted redemption centers. Do not pay any upfront fees for appointments or access to so-called elite groups. The real exchanges happening right now are invitation only and do not require any form of payment to participate. As this situation develops, more information will become available regarding the next phase of the RV. There is growing chatter that, following the IQD's successful transition, the Vietnamese Dong may be the next currency to receive a similar temporary window, with Zimbabwe's ZIM bonds and Indonesian rupiah following closely behind. Many analysts believe we are entering a cascading sequence of revaluations that will ultimately lead to a new global economic structure based on parity, transparency, and sovereignty. If you've been waiting, watching, and hoping for the global RV to materialize, this may be the beginning of your breakthrough moment. In closing, today marks a historic moment for the global financial community, and especially for holders of Iraqi Dinar. Prime Minister Al-Sudani's bold decision to authorize an 18-hour limited exchange window could be the spark that ignites the full Revaluation